We're live. What's going on, guys? It is your boy Eric of EMFC.
This is Derek of DMFC.
I'll quickly put up the chat. And it is Wrestle Chat Wednesday on a Thursday. Once again, the most consistent day for us in the week. But we will always be here to podcast, catch up on all things wrestling. Matt, for sure this time, could not make it because of work. I know he said so last week, but he ended up showing up anyways. But this time, for sure, he said he picked up an extra shift. Cannot be on here. I assume it's not from home, but it could be, so who knows. But we'd probably be done by the time he's done. Anyways, a few things happened this week in wrestling. Because Derek was trying to remember everything, a week ago were preparing ourselves to go to the cottage. And that's where we ended up being. I don't know if you fully remember it or not, but we were there.
I was there.
That's why Matt could barely make it last week because he was getting ready, but he showed up anyways. And that's why probably you don't remember wrestling fully because we were having a good time. We did put on SmackDown when we were eating a meal during that time. We also, I believe we watched the end during that time, but not the middle. I caught up today, so I got to see both Raw and SmackDown. We'll bring us to the review, shall we?
Let's do it.
That's this week on wrestling. Luna just left. So yeah, this week in wrestling, SmackDown started off with the GOAT, 17-time champion John Cena. It was a pretty good promo. Again, I don't know if you rewatched it afterwards. I think the promo was pretty cool when we were watching it kind of live. I thought it was even better when I rewatched it and fully understood everything he was saying. Really, really cool that he was the face. They were chanting in Montreal, of course, because it's a Canada live. They were chanting Cena, even during his entrance. Cena, Cena, Cena. Huge intro by him. He even said he did like a mini little promo. I believe it was... Oh my god, Stone Cold. Stone Cold, we got the sub. Good. Yeah, he was talking to Stu. He was talking to the camera, saying that like it's been a long time. This feels like a lot to him. This feels special to him. I think you guys can see Luna on the camera. Luna, you're live. Say hi.
Get the camera off of me.
Get the camera off of me. Yeah, so he did his face promo. He was asking pretty much kind of like for forgiveness that now he's back. He gave it his all. He says he appreciates the chance. He appreciates everyone. Like everyone was like super behind him. It was so crazy, but it was really nice to see the old John Cena back. And it was genuinely like him, the person, not the character, because he was like, "Guys, I have 11 days left." He says he feels scared. He feels very sad because he doesn't want anyone to forget him. He said the more he goes, the more scared he's becoming because it's starting to, like, reality's starting to hit him that he's not gonna do this anymore. He says every day he was counting down, it was worse and worse, but he said now like it's almost like 10 days, right? It's over, it's done. So he says that he will do his best while he's still there. It's always the you want some, come get some. He said he's ready for Brock Lesnar whenever Brock Lesnar is ready for him, which means he's not going to show up as typical part-time fashion. Logan Paul answers the call to the back. It was funny because he was like, if you don't remember, like a couple weeks ago, they were, months ago, they were tag team against Cody Rhodes and was it Jey Uso?
Yes. Yes.
So they kind of call each other out where Logan Paul's calling him fake because now he doesn't know like what his personality is. He says he would never change as a person. He is who he is. He said John Cena like flips and flops, kind of like Montreal. And yeah, he calls him a fake. John Cena cooks him. I told him that yeah, he's probably one of the greatest things in WWE, but he's also jackass, the biggest jackass he's ever seen. Or dumbass was one of the others, but it was great. So Logan Paul called him out and said, "Let's have a match. I want to answer your challenge, but not in this French-speaking country, and another one in France." So that is all booked. Drew comes out of nowhere, attacks John Cena. They start attacking together. Cody Rhodes comes out. They say, let's have a tag team match tonight live in Montreal. That's what happens. That was the beginning of SmackDown. I don't know if you got, again, chance to see it, but did you like it?
Um, yeah, I think it did what it did. I'm like I'm torn with I guess with like I'm happy that babyface Cena is back, but I'm
Oh, we lost him for a second, guys. He's frozen.
also like what do like why are we here? But it's still kind of I guess refreshing to see because it feels more natural for it to be um it feels more natural for it to be face Cena. And I guess like the whole build towards Clash of Paris with him and Logan Paul, like which I don't know if that was something that people were like anticipating or looking forward to. But it's still like we know how good Paul's in the ring. We know that this is going to be a pretty decent match, and at least there's some history there since they were tag team partners.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll do it. It'll do its thing. And then Drew McIntyre, we'll see, kind of has like a huge night for himself at the end of the SmackDown as well too. So, and we can talk about that once we get to that.
Okay. There's a couple. It wasn't that long, honestly. Again, it's 2 hours now, and I feel like they focused on a lot of important things. So they had some miniature things, a lot of backstage talk when there's mostly the tag teams. I know the Wide Six had a little conversation about how they're big and bad and they have the tag titles. Then they had all the tag teams discuss with each other about opportunities. They showed Candice LeRae's leg after the TLC match, which is all like purple still, it was messed up. Good for her though. Crazy bump that she took. Wild. Um, and of course the Bang Bang Brothers, Motor City Machine Guns, were talking backstage. They got to face Tala Tonga and JC Potato as they destroyed and buried those mans. Firm choke slam by Talatonga, the tallest choke slam in the world by Talatonga. And yeah, they win, which Solo comes out and says that, should be kind of like a promotion. They should win the tag team titles. It's going to come back home soon. And they said, I have no one to fight. Let me get out of this godforsaken city. Bye bye. And here comes the Montreal hero, Sami Zayn. He's in there, he's like, and all that. And the crowd is cracked. He fights all adversity, does a quick roll up pin, beats Solo, which will carry on to Raw after. But it is what it was. It was kind of a hometown return, so it's pretty cool. I don't know if you want to talk about that quickly or not, but
Nah, I mean that was hometown stuff. Sami Zayn, everyone's amped, everyone's cracked. We love it. We love a hometown
oh my god,
boy.
we love it.
And yeah, let's move forward.
Yep, it continues with another tag team championship technically, and another hometown hero. So Chelsea Green confronts Flair and Bliss. I think it was Alexa Bliss's birthday, so they were celebrating. They had a cake and everything. That's when Charlotte gave her, I believe, it was the original doll, the doll that she destroyed when they had that rivalry a couple years back between Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. But it was kind of like dressed up as Charlotte Flair. So now there's two dolls. There's kind of like the one for Alexa and the one for Charlotte, which was pretty cool. Um, Chelsea Green's just like destroying Montreal. She says, I should be the one cheered. I'm from Canada. But of course, we're in Montreal where they don't win any championships. So it makes sense why they're booing. They fought. Chelsea Green got cake in her face. Of course, Flair wins. That's pretty much it. Backstage, Tiffany Stratton talks for a little bit. They have nothing for her. Besides Jade Cargill, I think, talking like why she should become champion again. I don't know, or go for the championship. Sorry again, and that's it. That was pretty quick. Again, it was almost like key important parts that they did. There was one segment before the tag team match to main event. It was John Cena and R-Truth, where R-Truth is like, "You're back." Thank God, like he's happy to see him or whatever. And John Cena's like, "He's like, yeah, man, you really lost it for a couple months. Like you said you wanted to ruin wrestling." Pretty much mirroring himself, and R-Truth stayed confused. It was kind of like a way to say like what a waste of a couple months, but it is what it is. Tag team match happens. Pretty much John Cena and Logan Paul go all the way backstage fighting. Continues with Drew and Cody Rhodes, where Drew hits him with a WWE Championship, and then Claymore's Cody, as you guys can see in the picture here, right through the announce table. Brutal. Talks his ish. And that's the end of SmackDown. So it looks like we have 2 matches set. I guess Cody Rhodes and Drew for the title, and John Cena versus Logan Paul.
Oh, yeah, pretty concise, quick review of SmackDown. Yeah, that was it. Drew again, kind of getting himself back into the title picture, where, more comfortable for him being in that spot. After kind of doing like some like side stuff and like side quests and whatnot. So kind of seeing him in the being Cody Rhodes' first title contender, um, will be interesting. I'm not sure. I think that typically like the first contender curse is always a thing, so people don't really take it seriously, but you never really know. Although I feel like I don't see Cody Rhodes dropping the title
Oh,
anytime soon, but but we'll
I
see.
I
We'll
don't
see.
know what we're gonna do about that. Maybe we'll have a discussion about that later with maybe even Matt.
Hmm.
But like, where do you think the title goes now? Like, the other title reign with Cody Rhodes looked like he wasn't dropping it for a long time, unless it's like a big rival. John Cena was the perfect
Right.
fit, obviously, but that's only because of his retirement. I don't feel like they would have given it to anyone else. Now that he doesn't have it anymore, and they're kind of like back on track with what Cody Rhodes' title reign was supposed to be, like a long one.
Hmm.
I don't know if you or maybe Matt would consider the reign to go further or not, but what is next for Cody
Um,
Rhodes? You know?
yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. Like, I don't really have a shelf life for when this title reign's going to go to. I could see him dropping it to Randy.
Wait,
Um,
really?
that's a possibility. Yeah, I could see that definitely being a thing at some point. And then a lot of people are kind of fantasy booking the idea that it could be Punk versus Cody, kind of bringing a little bit of finality to like a little bit of a tease of that rivalry.
That'd be pretty good.
There's always the potential of Reigns versus Cody 3, but that's also something that even Cody said. It's like, although like it's out there in the ether, it's not really. It seems like it'd be something hard to kind of put together at this point.
Mm.
But so I don't know. We will see who kind of steps up and who looks like they would be a valid contender for the title. But my 2 front runners would be either Randy or Punk.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty good. It makes sense. I feel like Drew is a good contender, as you were saying, but
Yeah.
not at the state he's in now. Like, he's not like the be all end all villain. He's more of like the in between opponent. So I think it's gonna be a good rivalry. Again, I don't see Drew winning, but Drew freaking out every time he loses would be pretty good. All right,
Mhm.
so Raw,
But yeah.
Monday Night Raw, live again from the Quebec place. The other province here in Canada, next door neighbors, as they would say here in Ontario. So yeah, Quebec. Once again, Monday Night Raw. They also have their kind of like rivalry continuing, stemming for the world title. If you guys don't remember, CM Punk lost the title after he beat Gunther. Um, when Seth Rollins was not injured and cashes in his Money in the Bank. Last week they teased a bunch of rivalries, a bunch of different matches. LA Knight had his match, lost. So CM Punk starts because of CM Punk. Sorry, so CM Punk starts the night. Quebec is cracked, super cracked for CM Punk. He has his promo, pretty good promo of his reasons and why he should face Seth Rollins for the World Championship because again he got cashed in on. LA Knight comes out. He says he's a huge fan of CM Punk. He says that he deserves the right to fight for the championship as well because he had a good match last week, but CM Punk interfered, and that's what it cost him the match. So he wants a rematch. And then they turn from friends to like kind of like frenemies, like comparing each other and why they have the right to fight for the title. And the promo went hard. I don't know if you saw Raw, but like the promo was really good. A lot of good like jabs at each other, but like friendly jabs, not like burying jabs. And at the end, they started turning enemies because they really started saying like, "No, I deserve it. No, I deserve it." That's when Paul Heyman comes out with Braun and Braun with the Shula Fala around him, 2 pairs of shoes that he stole from Roman Reigns. Um, Pretty much they have like a little discussion. They're like kind of like, "What are you gonna do about it?" There's two of us, there's two of you. We have pent up anger. Let's fight later tonight. So that's gonna be the main event of Monday Night Raw. Um, and then while they're walking away, Braun Breaker pulls off a promo without the mic on. Because you know, like when they're like holding the back, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is Monday Night Raw." They play the music in the background and they try to push everyone backstage so they can continue with the next segment. But Braun Breaker kept pushing forward and he kept speaking, and Paul Heyman kept dragging him back. He's like, "Not yet. You don't have your gear." You know, fake pushing him away or whatever, right? Braun's like, "You're 47. What are you gonna do?" Talking to CM Punk, and he looks at LA Knight and he's like, "You're freaking 40. What are you gonna do?" He's like, "Together, you guys are 100 years old." And then they cut the segment. But I was like, bro, the Snyder math? Hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah. I don't know if you have any words to say or if you did watch Raw. I don't know if you did.
I'm pretty sure I watched Raw. Like I do remember this. Let's see. Let me look at the thumbnails. Yeah, no, I remember all this. Yeah, I watched Raw. I watched Raw. The beginning segment was interesting. It's kind of cool, kind of seeing LA Knight involved in something like a little bit more tangible and a little bit like
Legit?
nicer, as opposed to it being like, just like random stuff. Like the fact that they're continuing the story with Seth, I think is great. Uh, I feel like Monday Night Raw suits him a little bit better. That's just me.
LA Knight?
So, so yeah,
Oh, you're right. LA
I
Knight's not
think
a
I
Raw
think
superstar, is he? SmackDown.
he's not. He's a SmackDown guy, right? But he's been on
Oh.
Raw for the last little bit. So I feel like that's a little something that they should probably look to making a little bit more permanent, because I just feel like there's probably a little bit more that he could dig his teeth into on that roster as opposed to what's he's been doing on SmackDown. Um, but
There's a heel for
yeah,
Cody
him being
Rhodes.
involved in this world title. Say it again.
I said, now that I think of it, there's like no real heel for Cody Rhodes or anything. LA Knight could have been a cool opponent, but he's face.
Yeah, he's a face, and yeah, you can turn LA Knight heel, or you can turn somebody else heel. I got with the Cody Rhodes situation. I guess they'll figure that out once they get to it. Like Drew, and I think that's probably why they kind of threw Drew in there, because it's like Drew is like the only real heel they have on SmackDown right now. So after that, they can kind of figure out what they're gonna do. Like I do feel like the Randy turn is gonna probably happen sooner rather than later. Um, so we'll see where that goes. But in
Big
regards to this whole
Brock.
segment, yeah, yeah. I think Punk's just continuing to kind of like hit like every week with his promos and just like his involvement and everything. So I think it's just kind of cool to see how this is materializing. I think one thing that for me is just kind of, I guess, like iffy is that, like, although I like the group with Seth and Braun, like I feel like Braun's momentum is kind of like slowing a little bit.
Oh, do you?
I do. I do. Because, like, I feel like there was a little bit more, I think, interest on Braun, where it was like that idea that, like, okay, like, he's like the next big standout. Now that the Seth is back, and it's like kind of like, I think like maybe it should be like that. Maybe it's like one of those things where you should kind of just like see Braun as being like the hired gun, and maybe like as weeks go on, like he kind of starts to see that he's a little bit nuts, and he's a little bit too big for what Seth can handle.
Can be controlled,
But
yeah.
yeah, yeah, but I don't know. I feel like kind of putting him in a tag team situation all the time just kind of like, I liked when they kind of like focused on Braun being like this, like a standout, like with Paul Heyman standing behind him specifically, and with the lights and everything like that. But now it just kind of feels like he's just like another dude with Braun. Like they're like J Security, except they're Braun and Braun.
That's what I thought originally, but I felt like ever since like Seth Rollins was injured or whatever, I think it just improved. A little bit later, they did cut a promo
Mm-hmm.
with just what was the Tribal Thief with Bronson Reed. So I think that they might have it covered. I feel like they're still gonna do separate, but put them together. Right now, I think it's okay because now Seth is champion, so they're probably gonna create some heat. Like I was discussing with Seba, I think it's gonna lead to like a Survivor Series situation. But we'll talk about that like near the end of the night, because there's still a couple more segments and the thing at the end. I don't know exactly in what order it would be, but let me just go through the main points pretty quickly. So big, huge news. Naomi apparently is not medically cleared They don't explain anything. They said it multiple times that potentially that they're not going to fight in the next pay-per-view. Potentially she might not be even champion. So she's been teasing online, and she did a little interview where a lot of wrestlers back in the day, women wrestlers, they were scared of getting pregnant or doing something big in their lives because that would ruin their push. That'd be the end of them or whatever. So it's kind of like a thing they would fear. That's from what she said. Naomi said from her own mouth, not me. Um, and then she said, now at a time in WWE, you could get pregnant and there'd be no repercussions, as they would say. So yeah, the big rumor from everybody is that Big Jim uses Big Jim. You know what I'm saying? And potentially she might be pregnant.
Crazy.
So because they're really keeping a hush, they say it's medical. She couldn't defend the title there. She didn't even show up. She was there, but she didn't even show up on Raw, and she might not even show up in the pay-per-view. So it might turn out that it's got to be something huge, really.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out Big Jim still.
It's yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the topic of the week right now. And we'll see what happens. Honestly, like I personally believe that that's what it is. They're keeping it very, very hush hush. Like no one really knows what's going on. Um, and it's not like she did anything specific in the ring that we could even see that would have caused an injury. So, and plus, Jim Uso hasn't been on TV for like the last little bit either. So, conspicuous by his absence and the fact that Naomi just randomly got pulled. Um, it's very well a possibility. We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, obviously, the greater if that's what it is, it'd be obviously huge for them to be able to welcome a child into their lives, and it'd be like, huge congratulations for them both. But like, oh, Naomi's in the best point of her career right now. I don't want this to stop.
I know.
Like I'm loving this run right now. Like it's like oh like you could have like it's been so good just watching her as of late with like the Pursue with Caution stuff and just like your heel run and everything like that. So the timing could not have been any better, but you know that's life. So I mean if that's what it is, then absolutely huge and congratulations to them. And if it's not that, and maybe like she is clear, that we will get to continue to watch this great run that she's been on right now, because I think she's been on a tear.
Hmm.
And do
So
something with Jimmy, because I miss Jimmy on TV.
we'll see. He's been trying, bro, but he's not as Big Brother Jay, which we'll discuss later as well. So continuing with Naomi, because of that, Io Sky doesn't have an opponent. She gets confronted by Judgment Day. Judgment Day had a segment backstage promoting that I think it's this Saturday. Dominic Mysterio is supposed to fight for the AAA title. He says he recruited El Grande Americano, which was Ludwig Kaiser, to fight AJ Styles and I believe it was Dragon Lee. A little bit later, Finn was pushing for the pairing of Roxanne Perez and I don't know, I'm forgetting her name already. It happens every week.
Oh,
Raquel Rodriguez, yes. So they're to fight for the tag team women's championship. So they're like, oh, we're gonna confront, but instead they find Io Sky. So Roxanne fights Io in a 1v1. Backstage, the Kabuki Warriors try to get involved or wanted to get involved with the match. Io says she doesn't need their help. She's beating her. She can do it again. They interfere anyways, cost her the match. Roxanne wins via roll up. They're very upset backstage, and Asuka pushes away Io. Apparently, that's her heel turn. They wanted to turn her heel, but with whatever's going on with Naomi, they were going to progress it longer. But now, I guess this is what it is. Io's still upset, gets confronted by Stephanie Vakir. She's like, I understand you because it looks like I'm not going to get my title match because of whatever happened with Naomi. That's it. And then she leaves. So one Gothic team goes, other Gothic team comes, and that's Rhea Ripley. And she's like, well, I feel bad for you, but, it doesn't look like a real friend. Io's like, yeah, don't talk to me. Don't get involved in my situation. And that was kind of it with that situation. The Women's Intercontinental Championship, Maxine Dupree with Natalia go on to fight Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch makes her tap. She attacks Natalia. That was just like an ongoing thing. I like a little in between to focus on them before Nikki Bella comes back. Because who knows if she can come to Canada? Because again, they're in Quebec. And then after that,
Was
Bailey.
that the reason? Because like that whole thing like confused the crap out of me.
Well, it was a part of Nikki
Like,
Bella's speech. She said that you don't fight young talent, and that's what I came back for when she was saying that she came back.
yeah, yeah,
And that's the whole point for the Intercontinental Championship is to have like young and up and coming talent fight. So Natalia confronted her backstage. She's like, you know what? You're right. I'm
yeah,
not gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight Maxine, and that's why she gave her the opportunity. But I don't know why Nikki Bella wasn't
yeah.
around.
Which yeah, that's the thing that gets me. Like, I understand like the whole like match itself, but I kind of feel like, especially after that promo that they had last week, that like the fact that they didn't follow up on that like this week was kind of weird. So I'll just assume maybe it's just because Nikki couldn't come to Raw, and maybe that's why. But
Mm-hmm.
it'd be weird if they don't follow up on that, because like there was obviously a lot of fireworks that came from that whole thing, right? So
Yeah, they fight like in 2 weeks too. Right, Luna?
yeah,
Wanna come up? She wants to come up. Everyone, welcome Luna to the stream. She's like, ooh, a mic. Congrats. You can fall asleep.
Flew does he start barking into the mic?
Because the dogs are barking. So yeah, that was it for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Again, still in Quebec, Sami Zayn fights Rusev. Pretty good match. Sami Zayn was about to win, but Solo and his group of the MFTs, those mother friggers, as we like to call them, they attacked Sami Zayn. Sheamus continues attacking Rusev. It's chaotic, but we'll see where that leads. Again, it's an in between Raw and SmackDown situation where they might defend the U.S. title. Who knows? But we should see what situation comes out of that. Dom has his match. He wears the like Rey Mysterio fake mask, and then he puts the metal thing in his head because Grande Americano dropped it. Grande Americano wins. I believe he pins AJ Styles, and that was the end of that. I guess they're gonna continue their rivalry later. And I don't know what else happened. Honestly, I think that was it from important parts, right?
And then the main event.
Well, I guess Bailey had like that little video package that she was teasing she's turning heel. She's depressed that she's
Oh
not
yeah,
getting the respect. And then Lyra with horrific acting, she was backstage like saying like, "Oh my god, I didn't know she was like this, blah blah blah." Like I would help her, yada yada yada, all that stuff, and that was it.
oh, I didn't even see Lyra's part.
Yeah, it was lame. You didn't have to worry about all that.
Oh
Besides, also
yeah,
New
screw
Day.
Lyra. Yeah,
New
okay.
Day had a conversation backstage. I
Oh,
think that was it.
yeah, it's New Day.
Oh, I missed something on SmackDown.
And then
Sorry, it reminded me. Carmelo Hayes finally showed his face. He he says he's gonna get a United States title match or something like that. And then the Miz comes in, he's like, nah, cancel that. When Pierce was there, or it wasn't Pierce, it was the other guy. When he was there, and he was like, no, we're gonna have a tag team match because we're a tag team. And then afterwards, Carmelo Hayes leaves and he talks to the GM and he's like, yo, put me in a match still. So let's talk about that US title match. So I don't know, they might break up, but yeah, main event. Sorry, you can explain now.
honestly, I didn't even watch the main event, but I'll tell you what I do know. Those guys got messed up at the end, got beaten up. Oh, also there was like a backstage where Jey Uso had like a little like backstage with like LA Knight basically saying like, "Oh, I'm coming for that title, yeet." And then
He,
LA Knight was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "Yeet," and then walked away. It was a little bit more serious, like saying like, "Oh, he was cheesed because it got beat up and his shoes taken." And then I don't even know how that tag team match went. I don't know who won. All I know is that they got attacked. Jey Uso came down for the save, and then Adam Pearce announced that there's going to be a fatal four-way match for the World Heavyweight Championship, and everyone was just like, "Okay, but why is Jey Uso in this? He's not even involved." And I agree.
mhm,
But I also know why, because they're in Paris and like people are gonna get like antsy Jey Uso,
of
so
course.
you gotta put him somewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty much Monday Night Raw. I feel like it's kind of repetitive now, where like it's cool to see the Visions, what they call themselves, to be like powerful and strong at the end of the show. But it's been multiple times where it's just like now They get attacked, and the hero comes. Usually, the hero's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wrecks them, and they're like, "Yeah, it's the end of the night." But then it's false because then they come back in the ring and they kill everyone again, and that's it. This week was the same thing where they announced the tag team match, or sorry, the Fatal 4-Way match. Jey Uso came with a chair to defend him. That's why they weren't entering the ring. Then all of a sudden, when because they were announced as a Fatal 4-Way, they're like, "Oh, like we're friends, but we're also enemies." And they start fighting each other. Jey throws the chair away. They start hitting each other, and then that's when Seth's group comes in attacks. I don't know, a little repetitive, but is what it is, I guess. And that's Monday Night Raw.
Great show, great show. 10 out of 10.
Guess it was pretty chill. It was a way to set up the pay per view, which is next weekend or the weekend after.
I think it's next weekend. Yeah, it's next weekend, I believe. End of August. Wait, is the end of August next weekend?
No,
It might be the weekend after.
I like how they have the whole Clash in
Alright.
Paris thing now, where it's kind of like it's set up as like a art piece, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
preview.
it's kind of different. Kind of different. I kind of like it.
So John Cena versus Logan Paul, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk versus Jey Uso versus LA Knight's the only matches officially announced. So ready now? Okay.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I guess they'll make the WWE title match official on Friday.
It's official. Okay. Grain of salt or dirt sheets?
Um, I don't even know if I have any salt. So let's just do dirt sheets and then, yeah, we'll go from there.
Sheets of
Let's get lost in the sheets. Yeah,
Oh, wearing Matt's dirt sheets, where he nuts up or shuts up or whatever line he says, but he's not here. So, all right, from the top of my head, we'll leave Naomi's pregnancy for a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Let me take a look here. Trying to
I got
remember.
some stuff. Do you want me to run
Yeah,
through?
yeah, go through it.
Oh, all right, all right. First one that we got, actually a lot of head-to-head stuff that's going on right now. So from what I saw on Instagram today, apparently, and again, you can take it with a grain of salt. Oh, I guess I do have grains of salt.
Oh,
You can take it with a grain of salt, but WWE is apparently planning on having TNA go head-to-head with AEW in the near future, to kind of create like a Wednesday night war because they want to prevent AEW from being able to get a new TV deal and they want to secure that spot for TNA. So apparently the competition is ramping up between WWE AEW. With that being said, the WWE is considering moving John Cena's final retirement match to the same date as AEW's Worlds Collide pay-per-view at the end of December, which is a change from its original end date for his retirement tour, which was supposed to be the Saturday night's main event in December, which I think was taking place in Boston. Don't quote me on that, but apparently that was what the plan was.
it's a
And going off
conflict
of
now,
the
though.
whole, yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And then going off of the whole competition aspect, there is apparently a unnamed WWE PLE that will be happening in September that will be rivaling AEW. Is it All Out? I believe it's All Out.
It's all out. Yeah, there's one in
And
Toronto here, of course, live.
Yes, so the one in Toronto, in which confirmed, it looks as though Edge and Christian have reunited on AEW
Oh yeah,
Dynamite yesterday.
saw that.
We got some apparent bangers that have already been set up for that pay-per-view. And so WWE wants to aim to have a PLE that weekend and have John Cena and Brock Lesnar headline that PLE. Stay tuned to see if that actually happens. Um, Ooh, more details on Naomi not being cleared to compete. Let's see if there's anything that I haven't already read. Blah 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 blah
But yeah,
blah blah blah
from
blah
what you
blah blah
said, yeah,
blah.
they were trying to change the date so Brock and Thing can fight, so it'll ruin their pay per view, and they have the same thing at the end of December. But apparently, NBC needs John Cena to be on Saturday Night's main event. So I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what they're gonna do about that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that'll be Yeah. In other news, Karrion Cross has confirmed that he has not re-signed with WWE, and him leaving is not a work, and that WWE did offer him a contract,
Only him though.
but the contract conditions were kind of bullshit. So they only offered it to him and said that they would offer his wife a contract later, and only gave him 24 hours to accept said contract. No questions asked, no takesies backsies, and if he did, that they would rescind it. And he was just like, "Well, no, I need more details." And they're like, "All right, fuck you."
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much, which is so weird because people were saying like before it was WWE that was dealing a contract, but now it's TKO, so it's kind of like
yeah,
different. Like they know what they even offered him, you know. Apparently,
yeah,
AEW didn't offer anything yet because they think it's all work, which still can be.
right.
You never know.
It still can be, and then Karrion Cross has been made it pretty apparent that he does still want to go back to WWE, and negotiations are open if they want to bring it over at that point. But as of right now, he is a free agent and can talk shit about WWE as he pleases. Speaking of WWE former talent, Shayna Baszler was also on the same Ariel Helwani show talking about
Oh, really?
her status, and
Hmm.
she also mentioned that she is officially a free agent and she was actually contacted by AEW. So we will see where she ends up there. Um, Vince McMahon has shown his face on TV in a
Oh
Hulk
yeah, I
Hogan
did.
special on TMZ, and has spoken about how disappointed and frustrated he was with the reception that Hulk Hogan got on his final TV appearance before his tragic death, and went on to say, and I quote, Hulk Hogan is not racist, he just said some racist things.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty much the conversation that he has that he knew him for many years. He was always kind of like a good partner to him, like a good friend. He says that he did hear everything that went on. He's like he was very shocked when he heard about all that. He says that he's never known Hulk Hogan to be a racist. Then he says he heard those things, and as you said and you put it at the end, he's like Hulk Hogan's not a racist. He just only said racist things. I'm like, well, I guess that makes you a racist, bud.
Oh,
Um,
I guess it does.
but it's coming from the guy who's has a bunch of lawsuits against them for not racism, but like very
No, for
bad,
other things,
bad
but
evil
he's
stuff.
not. Yeah, but he's not bad or evil. He's just done some bad or evil things. Um. Let's see. What
People
else
were
do we
like, he's not
have?
the person to speak after all like the racist things he's done too. But like,
Yeah.
cue the footage.
Uh.
Ready, Luna? Cue the footage.
Let's see. Do we have anything else? Okay. Yeah, nothing else really comes to mind here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All I got for the sheets. I don't know if you got anything else to kind of contribute to that.
Just what I mentioned about Naomi, pretty much. But that's really it. I don't know if I sent you guys anything on Instagram if you want to check quickly, but I think that was pretty much the most of it. This is your assault now.
I got nothing.
Keep saying it. I take it with a grain of salt.
There's a couple things we can talk about. If we want to salt it
Okay.
up, if we want to give heavy opinions. Oh, sorry, Luna. Whoa. Um, there was two things. One, we were talking about the Cody Rhodes opponent, where we think his reign is gonna go. Um, there was also the situation with what do you think they're gonna do after if Naomi is pregnant? What are your opinions on that? Because like as we said, she had like a fantastic title reign so far. Her character is just finally getting started. She's becoming that villain, that top villain right now. But now that might be thrown in the air. So what do you think they're gonna pivot to? EO versus Stephanie Vakir. But also, did you think Stephanie was gonna beat Naomi in the first place? And what do you think is gonna be now?
So I don't think Stephanie was going to beat Naomi. I feel like Naomi's title reign would have gone for a little bit longer, but I feel like Stephanie would have eventually gotten there. Um, if the case is that Naomi has to drop it, um, I could see. Yeah, I don't know. There's a couple of avenues that they could go. They could just decide like, hey, like let's just put the title on Stephanie back here and let's like kind of run with it. There's a couple of other like,
Yep.
you know, storylines that are kind of developing right now that could use the championship if Asuka does. Well, it's not even really if, it's when Asuka officially turns heel on uh on EO, because I mean the push was definitely a part of it, but I definitely feel like we need to have like more of a solid heel turn, and we also kind of need to see where Kairi Sane's allegiance is in regards to that whole situation too. But I think that you could do a situation where you might put the title back on Io, have her kind of have her blow off match um with Asuka at some point, or blow off rivalry with Asuka. If you want to run back Rhea and Io again at some point, because they apparently have some unfinished business as well, you could do that. Um, or yeah, you could just do something different and maybe just do Stephanie back here and then kind of like run it through there, kind of thing. But
Mhm,
there's a few avenues that could be taken for sure.
mhm.
What do you think?
Honestly, I thought Stephanie was gonna win. We were talking about it. I think it's like she's been over, and they're gonna put the rocket on her. It could have been a little bit early, but maybe that was what they were looking for. I think right now, Io Sky winning it back would make the most sense. She has the most rivals. She has to fight Asuka, probably fight Kairi Sane, and then like little by little, be like, oh, all my friends are kind of turning on me. Maybe Bailey gets interviewed or involved or whatever. Or they have someone young like Lyra, and then make their way to the story with Rhea, because I feel like that's going to be the final end of their story, because this whole thing of Rhea Ripley, she can't beat Io Sky until she finally does it. Another thing, which now I'm going to bring back from the sheets, apparently, Liv Morgan's coming back very soon, as they were told, apparently, and especially now that this whole situation with Naomi, she might even just be rushed back. Again, there's medical
Mm,
reasons why not, because of course,
yeah,
as you said, you were the
yeah.
doctor here, the reason for
Mm.
it. But that's just the big rumor that she was going to return anyway. So we'll see. They could just be only rumors, but take it with a grain of salt, of course, as the segment says. But yeah, we'll see where that situation leads.
I mean, the potential. Yeah, the potential with Liv Morgan is always an interesting one because, like, we don't know the gravity of, I guess, her injury. Like having surgery again, like it's something that again could take like a couple of months to longer. So we haven't really seen much of her rehab. We don't know how far along she is, so it's very much something that could be a thing. And we'll see what happens with that. That'd be interesting though. I think that'd be a really cool story point to kind of work on as well too, because you can work on the whole Judgment Day stuff as well.
Mhm. Yeah, makes sense. Um, this is an opinion, but not more of a grain of salt. But I was talking to Seba about like the situation with Sami Zayn, where he got attacked by Solo's group. You were talking about Jimmy, and there's still Jacob Fatu, which hasn't appeared since he lost in the steel cage match at SummerSlam. Looks like they're kind of like heavily getting that whole storyline involved with maybe a War Games like kind of fight potentially, because again, there still seems like another War Games match they're gonna have where it's Seth's group, which they might just add another fourth member, versus maybe the likes of CM Punk, like LA Knight or Jey Uso. The other option is Solo's group, the four of them, versus Jacob Fatu, Sami Zayn, because now they have him involved, Jimmy Uso, and then like another member. It could be um, Tamatonga. That's him? Yeah, because it's Tonga Loa. Yeah, Tamatonga. Because he's still injured, but he
Hello.
maybe
Yeah.
could come back to return. Or Zilafatu, of course. Which I think Johnny's the one who's sent us something on Instagram about a conversation they potentially have. But what do you think the War Games match is going to be?
Oh god, it's so far in the future that I can't even really think about what it could be.
Mhm.
Um,
That's like 2 or 3 months.
Like,
Prepare yourself.
yeah, it's too far. It's too far. Um, I'm trying to think about like I feel like as it stands right now, like the War Games match will more likely be something that's probably going to involve Seth Rollins and his group. Uh, because I feel like they're the ones that are most involved in everything that's going on. Like Solo and his group are. I kind of feel like they're sort of like in the background of like SmackDown stuff going on right now. So like, although like a War Games match might generate more interest for the group too, like I feel like they kind of like keep those matches for like the main attraction of the show, which to me right now is like Rollins and the Bronze and
And the bronze.
um I guess whoever else they would want.
Do you think the women's would get involved? Because like the women usually they have like one men war games match and then one woman. Do you think they
Mhm,
could just like slap
mhm.
together a bunch of women? Or I mean, that's probably the perfect time for Liv Morgan to be there because
Uh,
then there's three in Judgment Day. They could pick up somebody else, like a Chelsea
yeah,
Green or something. I don't know.
maybe it's very possible. Like all it really takes is just like the right elements to kind of come together at the right time. That's why for me, like it still feels like it's a little bit too soon to kind of really, because I feel like when we look back to like the last couple of years, it was like the Bloodline, and like the Bloodline was just like on everything. So like it kind of just like made sense that like it was gonna lead towards that point. We don't like although we have factions, we don't really have factions that are really doing a
The-
lot of
yeah,
things, right? So yeah, we'll kind of see. But I feel like the War Games match will probably feature Seth Rollins in the division, to some capacity, and
I
maybe
guess
against like a
Roman.
CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and
Yeah,
something like that
makes
kind of
sense.
thing, right? So.
Now, looking into it, and we were talking about the women's situation. You know what? Something that I didn't necessarily like, especially for Survivor Series, but sometimes the concept was cool. Maybe bring like bragging rights back. Like you said, there's gonna be like an unnamed pay per view in September or whatever, right? That would have been cool to have during that situation, but I feel like it'd be rushed now. That's the old concept of Raw versus SmackDown, and they really kept the brands that way. Like both world champions fighting against each other, both women's world champions fighting each other. I think it'd been pretty cool situation to have like the Cody Rhodes Seth Rollins dynamic kind of take place now, and then interference and stuff, and eventually that probably lead to war games or something. Um, but yeah, it's kind of like missing now in this situation. I feel like Tiffany doesn't have really many opponents right now. Maybe they're waiting for like someone like Nia Jax to return, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe the two tag teams fighting off against each other, tag team champions. The mid card champions get Becky Lynch to face Julia because I don't think Julia's doing much either. But yeah,
Yeah, oh yeah, Julia's not really. So yeah, they're very much. I wouldn't mind that at all. Honestly, I liked that was kind of like the one aspect of like the bragging rights slash like I guess like old Survivor Series format. I guess from like the 2010s that I liked, where they kind of had the champions against the champions. I just feel like kind of having like those interpromotional matches. Kind of it was kind of cool to kind of see those styles and those champions mix it up with each other to kind of see who would go over, who would kind of, yeah, like see those styles come together because they were otherwise like when they were forcing like the hard roster splits, it was like these were matchups that you wouldn't expect to see happen anytime soon, and so being able to kind of put a match together like that makes things a little bit more interesting and cool. Like, in what world would you expect to see like Becky Lynch versus Julia, like right now. You know what I mean? Like, so having it in that capacity would be cool for sure. But I don't know. We'll see where they kind of like leave with things. I was honestly hoping and like because at first when they had announced Survivor Series, they didn't really say it was War Games. They kind of just said it was Survivor Series San Diego, and then they kind of added in the War Games moniker a couple months later. So I was on the thought that like they might have been dropping the War Games concept altogether, just doing a traditional Survivor Series pay
yeah.
per view. But it seems like they're doing war games, so yeah,
War
we'll
games
kind
is a
of see
cool
where that goes
concept,
there.
but like, I guess maybe one of the years they need to take a little break from it. So
hmm I would say so. I got like they own like both properties, so I wouldn't mind them going back to like the old tried and true once in a while.
and then okay, I guess that's yeah, it's all about Gary Assault really. which wasn't
Mhm.
even great. I saw those more suggestions, but I was gonna do something else with you. It's been a while. Let's go do it. So this is the segment, flop or not, of course. It's been some time since we do it, so if you guys don't know, we choose a wrestler or situation and see if, well, as it says, if it's a flop or not. So, without further ado, let's see what is in store for us. Let's do a very important one. Do you want quick ones first, or do you want an important one after?
Yeah, we can do quick ones first.
Okay, okay. The Grande Americano situation, where they have multiple, looks like, and then they didn't have multiple this week. It's just only the one. Do you think it's a flop or not so far? Do you think like it should be developed further, or do you think it's like a comedic role that they need to keep going on, or just removed fully?
I think it's funny. Just keep going with it. I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see where they go with it. Like the sheets online have kind of already revealed who the other guys under the mask is, and I don't know if it's gonna be something that's gonna turn into a thing or if it's just gonna be like, oh, there were just multiple All Grandes and that was just what it was. But I think it's funny. I think that it's yeah, it's just like a funny like ongoing situation that they have kind of going on there. So like I don't mind it. Like run with it. Let's see where you can take it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's a flop either. I think it's like those in betweens. I think they could have done a little bit more with what Chad Gable was going to do. Eventually, he got hurt, so I'm glad they kind of pivoted and they're doing using wrestlers that are not being utilized right now. And then Ludwig Kaiser just knowing Spanish is just funny, so kind of completes the whole
Yeah.
situation. But again, it's still kind of like there as a comedic role. I don't know if they're going to make it grow, but I guess we'll continue with the flop or not for that later. Next flop or not. What do you think about Lara Valkyria's trajectory right now?
Stale.
Stale?
Yeah.
Do you think she's a flop in
And I
general,
was
or
worried. I was worried that I don't think she's a flop. I think that her feud with Becky was good. I think it was cool, but I
yeah?
don't
Stop.
know where she's gonna go from here. I'm like again like I think the whole Bailey thing is probably gonna be her next like kind of venture and stuff. But yeah, I think if Lara can kind of like tap into like what she kind of did with the whole Becky Lynch stuff, then I think that she'll be okay, and we'll see where things go from there. But I feel like the trajectory is kind of hard to kind of work through and kind of work with. So,
She just needs to improve in a lot of things still. She's still vanilla.
hmm
Her character is going pretty well, but I guess it is what it is. We'll see where that
yeah, I mean
leads.
the crowd is behind the crowd is getting behind her more and more. Like she at least has them like getting engaged with her entrance and stuff like that, and she is good in ring. But yeah, I just feel like her character itself is just still kind of
I feel like
eh,
she's in
you
between.
know.
Like I wouldn't say necessarily she's a flop because she was Intercontinental Women's Champion. She improved. These rivalries got better. But was it because of her or
hmm
was it because of the others? You know what I mean? So I think she's another to be
hmm
continued thing. But right now I'm just gonna say she's a not, but she's getting there. She's getting to a flop, depending on what they do next with her. All right. Do you want me to go to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. Let me see what we got here. Let's go with a combined together. Aleister Black, Rusev. They were both added to the roster a couple months ago. They're supposed to be the big shockers, and here they are with their little mini programs. So in the SmackDown side with Aleister Black, he has taken out Damian Priest, which I even forgot he's on the roster. In all honesty, because now he's banging Lola Vice, and that's probably what all he's doing. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was just like he hasn't done much, but then he started this rivalry. Same thing with Rusev. He started this rivalry with Sheamus, but he's just there. What do you think? Flop or not? Do you think they should improve? Do you think they're going to improve, or do you think they're going to join Karrion Cross soon in the unemployment line?
I don't want them to, but I feel like um someone had noted it and I had noticed it too. Like pretty much like every wrestler that Triple H rehired after Vince released them, like, got released. Like, they're all gone. So it's like, was Vince out of touch when he decided that all these guys needed to be released? Because like they're all like they've all kind of got their second shot at things, and like things didn't really work out. I mean, BFAB is still here, so like that's cool at least. But again, this is like kind of one of those like situation for me where like the roster, there's a lot of things going on right now, and there isn't enough time to allocate it. And especially with the way that TKO is moving right now, like they want to expose or to overexpose like the ones that are getting the most views. So like now Brock Lesnar is back, and although he's not going to be back all the time, we know this, but like they want to focus in on like the main players, the CM Punks, the Seth Rollins, the Sami Zayns, like those people. So like a lot of other people kind of just get like left in this like other position, right? We like Drew McIntyre, I think went on a radio show or went on like tweeted about how like like this was supposed to like we remember we were told by the Dishes this was supposed to be his year, and what has he really done this year, right? He's kind of been like kind of put in the background. Finn Balor, this was supposed to be his year, and he's kind of been put into the background. And now you're adding all these other variables into it that, again, had that initial hype, but now they're kind of just fading into the background. Our Truth, everyone chanted for him to get rehired, and like we haven't really seen him. And you can look at it and say like, oh well, like it's the bookers and they're not booking him, so that's why and stuff like that. But again, like you guys were interrupting segments for this guy to be rehired before, and yet like it's now there's no talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Everyone was wanting Karrion Cross to be uh push more, but like he gets released and no one's chanting his name. There's barely any signs. Like it really shows like how much people really actually were invested in
That's
him.
another thing with the
And
sheets. Apparently, they took
for me,
out
like
his signs. Sorry, carrying across the signs. They removed it fully. And again, they're in Quebec, so who knows? Maybe it was
yeah, there were
different.
some
But
signs. Yeah, there were some signs in the crowd. I did see some signs of "We Want Cross" like in the crowd, so I'm not sure how true that was. Maybe they got to some signs, and maybe they didn't. But at the same time, like you can still chant. Like yeah, Quebec is a very raucous crowd. Like you like if they wanted to, they could have just chanted the entire night, right?
which
They could
John
have
Cena
chanted
said in
during
his
their
promo.
commercial break. Like you know, like they didn't do it. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's in regards to those two, to after going on my tangent, I'm going to continue to hold faith that like, like they're slowly making their way. Like Aleister Black was barely even getting featured on AEW. It was only involved in six mans for like however long. So the fact that he's even getting to wrestle on SmackDown, I'll take it.
Uh,
And the same thing with Rusev. Like these were two guys who were cleared to compete and just weren't being used on TV. So I
yeah.
think the fact that they're getting TV time is much more than what they were getting in AEW. So we'll leave it as is for now. We'll see where things go. I'm hoping they get to somewhere, but I don't know where. Like I could only like their ceiling for me is like Intercontinental or United States Championship. Like I don't see it being like a world title
World title.
situation.
Yeah, and honestly, everyone knows the role and shuts their mouth.
Yeah.
So
So
I would
so
say
we'll see.
flop for now. Like they just haven't been pushed that much. I know they're trying and they're trying to give him something. I feel like there's more faith in Aleister Black because he's kind of entertaining, and I think Damian Priest and him will do some cooking, as they would say. Damian Priest really needs to improve his game, and I don't think it's his fault. I think it's just the things they give him as well. But he was on fire and then he disappeared. So I'm gonna call him a flop while we're at it too. Okay, and then I guess the last flop or not, which would be the main topic, John Cena's little heel turn and now face turn quickly, because heel John Cena was okay. He's been talked about online, where they were saying that his heel turn was just never like legit. It felt like a kind of like a child acting, I guess. Kind of like it's I'm the problem, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then John Cena made fun of it a lot this Friday, saying that he's kind of like a little lost it a little bit, saying that he I think what was it, Logan Paul had called him out or saying that he had to listen to his bosses, so his bosses said he had to be like a good guy, and so he's a good guy now, or a bad guy, he was a bad guy then. So I don't know. They're really kind of like making fun of the heel turn in general, which again I thought like was a cool like little goodbye and a cool what if situation. But what do you think? Do you think it was kind of like just in the grand scheme of things? Do you think we're gonna fully remember this heel turn besides the actual heel turn? He won the 17th title, I guess was important, but besides that, will we truly remember that, or will we just remember John Cena, the character, the face that we've seen the last 20 years?
Definitely like the legacy of like the 20 years for sure. Like, do people remember Stone Cold's heel run when he turned at WrestleMania 17? They remember the
That's a
moment,
good
but do
comparison.
they? But do they really? And this is the thing. This is what I was worried about when the heel turn happened, and I mentioned it. It's like, is it going to be like as big as a Hogan turn when the NWO happened, or is it going to be like a Stone Cold heel turn? And we could say confidently it's a Stone Cold heel turn, right? Storyline wise and shock value, it made sense at the time, but like Stone Cold had the merch, he had the popularity, he had everything. The heel turn didn't really do him any favors,
Yeah.
right? It was just something that like I guess worked for the story, but like it wasn't really something that people wanted. And I think with John Cena, I think a lot of more of the classic John Cena fans definitely wanted the heel run, but they wanted something palpable to come with it, and nothing came out of it because I feel like everything that they wanted to come out of it like kind of just fell apart, right? And like that's not really Cena's fault. On top of that, like yeah, like it really did feel like, and I had mentioned this before when I was like watching his promos, like it felt like he was knocking a checklist of like all the things you're supposed to do as a heel, and it didn't really feel authentic. Like I couldn't take him seriously as a heel character, but I appreciated it for what it was. And I still do appreciate the fact that we were able to see this level of it, and also I guess in a way be kind of cool to see that like, you know, as great as John Cena is, there's still things that like he may struggle to still do, and like playing a bad guy character in a wrestling program in 2025 is apparently something that he's not comfortable with, which it was kind of cool to see. But for me, like I would have been okay with the heel run if there was like some level of, I guess, transition out of it. Just the way of how abrupt it was, just felt like, yeah, it just felt like it made it feel like it wasn't gonna work.
I think that was the perfect description. It was very abrupt. It was very rushed, and all of a sudden, it's kind of like it never happened. And I think when my dad comes back from Colombia,
Hmm.
and he starts watching wrestling, he's gonna be very confused.
Yeah, absolutely,
And, like, I mean, we
absolutely.
watch SmackDown, but like when he comes back, we're just gonna show him the pay per views, right? So he's gonna be like, "Oh, John, when did John
Yeah,
Cena become a good guy?" You know what I mean? It's just gonna be very shocking. So
yeah.
we'll see what it is, but I guess the way John Cena explained it on Friday, he has 11 weeks left. It's very surreal. You can't believe
Hmm.
it that's going to be over and that's it. It's done. So I guess they did the right thing because if this is really his last year, which is depressing, it's very sad. We want Cena. Um, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think his heel turn was the best. I feel like his heel turn was good. When he won the championship was great. He still needed that like Rock situation to be like resolved because it never was, and he was just sounded like a whiny baby every week. I don't feel like it did us any favors. It was still doing like the goodbyes to everyone, which is cool, but I feel like we lost a lot of prime Cena when we had the chance. Now we get him, but we only get him for like a few weeks and it's over. So very depressing. Seeing this hero promos, like this is what we wanted. We missed this John Cena. Me and Seba were laughing because we are like, you know, we seen Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair come back and retire, and they're 7 years old. They're still going, bro. It's like I don't care if Undertaker had those terrible matches with like Goldberg and stuff. Let John Cena come back, bro. Let him do the 5 minutes, 5 moves to do. Get out, bro. But the hype of his music hitting, it's great. But he's decided he's called to play. It is what it is. So he's gonna be the GOAT. Do you think he's gonna be in the Hall of Fame next year when he retires?
Yeah,
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 you think they're just gonna do it right off the bat?
yeah,
So he's gonna appear at WrestleMania, is what you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think so.
He's gonna do the entrance one more
I
time,
think so.
hopefully.
I think so. Cause like, where are they? Oh yeah, they're back in Vegas. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
money. I think it'd be cool. I mean, he obviously deserves it. He's
yeah.
the greatest of all time, of course, but very sad.
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely, definitely deserves it.
I always remember when I was a
But
kid
yeah,
looking like at the Hall of Fame. I'm like, imagine when these wrestlers reach the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm gonna be 70 and telling my kids, I'm like, that was John Cena. Now they're all in my, of course, because I'm still in my 20s, just before it ends. They're all retiring and being in the Hall of Fame in my 20s is nothing that I expected, of course. Maybe in my
yeah,
30s, like you, but like, I don't know.
that's crazy. That's
I
absolutely
didn't
crazy.
expect it to be so early. Batista, John Cena, Rey Mysterio. Yeah, sad, you know.
Hmm. It's kind of crazy to me too, because I remember like I think it was like the season mode in SmackDown versus Raw 2008 was like basically the Hall of Fame mode. So it was like you did the season and you got all those like small achievements that would raise your gauge, and then once you got it to 100%, you would get inducted to the Hall of Fame. And the first person I cleared that mode with was John Cena. And I remember playing through it, and then like once he like got into Hall of Fame, I was like, this doesn't feel right. And like that was like back in 2008. So yeah, like it was like what, like 13 years, no, like longer than that.
13.
Like
Dude, that was like
17 years
20
ago, right?
years.
So it's like, yeah, like crazy. Yeah. So like now it feels right. And it's like it's just funny like going from that point where it's like the mere concept of John Cena being in the Hall of Fame like really pissed a lot of people off. And now it's like,
Everyone's begging for it.
oh yeah, like this makes sense. This makes a lot of sense, right? So
We're old. You know what was crazier though? When I was looking at in Montreal, the fight, or sorry, the fight, his entrance. Um, the cracked out little kids jumping up and down with all his gear. Like they haven't seen Prime Cena. I don't think they were even born when freaking John Cena was fighting Roman Reigns during COVID, bro. But they're jumping up and down for him.
hmm.
So like the power that he can bring, and probably them all going back watching all these old wrestling matches. Because we saw him when we were kids, and he was like 2006, you know, Chain Gang and all that stuff. His move was the FU. So like, there's so many phases of John Cena and so many eras, and just to see little kids still jump up and down for him, it's crazy, man. So crazy. Like you expect Cody Rhodes now to be like what the kids jump up and down for, but still John Cena after all these years, never seen, bro. Like people get hyped for The Rock, but it's mostly us. You don't think? I don't think I see little kids jump up and down like, oh, it's The Rock, you know?
Not like we did when like we were younger for sure. Like I feel like The Rock's like definitely a different entity to like the younger kids of today.
So the power that John Cena holds is crazy. That's all I
Yeah.
got. That was my flop or not. I don't know if you have anything
Okay.
else.
Okay. No, I think I'm good.
Okay, okay. Then I guess we can end it here. Again, that was pretty much all the events that happened in wrestling. Not much. I think next week will be a little bit more important. We'll do more like predictions, because I think they're going to solidify all the matches for the pay per view next week. Because the pay per view
They
should
should.
be the week after or this weekend. Not this weekend, sorry, the weekend after coming up. It should be what it is. Now that I think of it, it's going to be the end of the summer. Isn't that crazy? I feel like it kind of came by pretty quick. It flew by pretty quick, but at the same time, like a lot's happened. I mean, me personally, of course, with Matt, with everything that's going on with him, as well. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel because I'm like, it's gonna be the pay per view, and is it gonna be the same weekend as the long weekend? Because I'll be the Labor Day, right? Labor Day for us. I don't know what it is for America, but it's the long weekend for September, and then everyone goes back to school and does whatever, right? So I wonder if we get a long weekend that weekend. Again, I work Monday to Friday now, so I get those weekends off, so it's gonna be sick. I can watch the pay per view in Paris, 1 p.m., whatever it may be. I could be eating a croissant, 11 a.m., having some breakfast, you know. But should be an interesting time to see where it goes. Actually, I'm trying to confirm it right now. Let me take a look quick. Now I want a croissant. I'm hungry. Clash in Paris. Of course, we'll pull up Wikipedia here quickly. August 31st. It's the weekend of the long weekend. September
That's
1st is the
yep.
Sunday, and the Monday would be when we're off, September 2nd. Yep. So that
Yeah.
is a couple weeks from now. So yeah, next week might not be that important. They will set up a couple matches. Won't fully set it up. The last week would be the go home show. yeah, that's it. We're gonna be in September. Bring on the fall stuff because I love fall. I love Halloween, pumpkin spice. It's gonna be great. Then you do all those little fall things. The colors changes. The hockey returns, of course. Basketball. I was talking to my coworker because the football, or if you want to say soccer seasons, begin this weekend, starting tomorrow. I know you probably saw the chat with Johnny discussing the Turkish league. Premier League comes back tomorrow. Liverpool, I think, is gonna be the first match for the Premier League. So we were discussing, of course, the fantasy leagues begin and all whatnot, betting, gambling, whatever, or if you just like entertainment of the sports, that happens. But during September, October, it's finally the time where all sports are being played. So baseball will be like in their playoffs, MLS is happening, soccer's happening, basketball returns, hockey returns, football returns, of course, American football. NFL comes back. CFL is still being run if you guys are from Canada. So yeah, it's one of those times where everything happens. So I always was sad because I love summer, I love the heat. I again, like I said, I love fall, but I hated when fall kind of started because that's when like school began. But now I'm a full on adult with a full time job, so everything doesn't matter. It's just gonna be the same
Pretty
schedule.
much.
So
Pretty much.
I always loved it when sports began because I was like, oh, it feels like a new time, new season. And then again, that eventually leads to Thanksgiving, um, and Christmas, which is always a beautiful time. I always feel like January, February is the boring, snowy stuff, but that's when the Royal Rumble and the road to WrestleMania begins. So a lot to look forward to. Just before we end it, what do you think? Because we'll review it with Matt. What do you think on the year so far with wrestling? Do you think it could be improved? Do you think more things should happen? Do you think more important things are going to happen? I'll just give you a quick example with me, and we'll discuss with Matt a little bit later. I think we got to a point where WrestleMania wasn't what we expected. We had the whole push for John Cena, The Rock return. We were like, oh, it's gonna be intense. The Royal Rumble with the shocking surprise of Jey Uso, but I thought it became stale because Jey Uso's stuff became stale. It wasn't like booked properly with Gunther. There was no more Rock, so the whole John Cena and Cody Rhodes thing wasn't as big as they thought. All the mid card stuff didn't happen as we expected it to happen, and then they had those stale kind of months in between until they reached Money in the Bank, until they reached King or Queen of the Ring and SummerSlam. They started picking things up, but that's just for me. I feel like wrestling could have been a little bit better. WWE could have booked it a little bit better. Maybe the packed schedule of pay per views, but what do you think?
I think in comparison to last year, I think last year was just great with everything
Crack,
that they
eh?
did leading into that WrestleMania. Yeah, I mean, it was but like that felt like that was just like a year where everything just kind of came together, and maybe because like they were working towards like getting that Netflix deal, they were just like firing on all cylinders to make everything as good as possible.
Yeah.
Whereas
Wait.
like yeah, it just feels like a lot of things just fell apart this year. And I mean, we still got to see some really cool moments, and we still got to see a lot of really cool stuff, especially like over the last like few couple of months with SummerSlam, King Queen of the Ring, and that. But we definitely did see a lot of stuff kind of start and go somewhere, and then not go anywhere.
Uh,
And too many to count, and just now seeing. I think now just it's interesting just kind of seeing how the week to weeks go, because like at some points it's like, oh, things are really really cool, and at other points we're kind of just like, oh, like what are we doing here, kind of thing, right?
yeah.
So we'll see if they finish strong. But yeah, I would say it's been an interesting year to say the least so far.
Okay. Again, we'll see how the Paris pay per view pans out, and then when we reach September, it's kind of like the last quarter. We still haven't done the fantasy, which I kind of miss, but it's up to you guys if you want to
Oh
continue
yeah.
that as well.
Oh yeah.
Until the end of the year, because I guess we could start like the final half of the year,
Yeah,
get it
true.
done, and then Christmas, and, we go enjoy the holidays. But it varies on our schedules, of course, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, interesting time so far. I feel like WWE's kind of picking up its pace now, but we'll see how it goes. Till then, guys, that's been our podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week. Again, I've been trying to game. I still haven't continued Donkey Kong Bonanza. I wanted to continue the story and piece it together for YouTube. Again, I've been just a little busy with work, just trying to adjust to the new sleep schedule, work schedule. I got some other work to do for that, and then hopefully now I can finish that. I know FIFA is supposed to come out next month. I don't know if I'm still going to do that or not. I think they did improve a lot of things, so it'd be enjoyable. But I just want to make sure I have enough free time to even play it because I don't want to waste my money. Because I know Call of Duty comes out and Battlefield comes out, whatever we end up playing. But we'll see. Till then, and Pokemon, of course, comes out in October as well. It's coming out for Switch 1 as well, so Derek, don't be fully left out, of course, unless you buy the Switch 2 bundle. Pokemon Za. Legend Za. ZA, I know, but it's pronounced Za, of course. But yeah, till then, podcast will keep us strong. We'll be there. See you guys next week. Eric of EMFC.
Derek at the MSC.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.